Good morning, Digit fam. Adam Dowd here, and holy MWC, things are jumping. It was a weekend for you, but phone makers were definitely not observing a Sabbath or two, because we got a boatload of phones to talk about. So let's just ease right up to the pier and start to unload. It's February 25th, 2019, and this is your Digit Daily. Arguably, the talk of MWC so far has been Huawei's Galaxy Fold competitor, the Huawei Mate X. This foldable 5G phone folds the other way, so the screen wraps around the outside of the phone rather than in like the Galaxy Fold, and I just now got angry at Samsung for naming their folding phone the freaking Fold. God, this is gonna suck. Anyway, the Huawei Mate X brings all the same goodies to the mix as the Fold, including a smaller phone screen, a larger tablet screen, 5G, a big battery, but it also manages to top Samsung in one key way. It's going to cost even more money, around $600 or so. I'm gradually coming to terms with the fact that I won't be able to afford any foldable phone anytime, probably ever. At least not for the next couple of years. The Mate X does fold flat, though, due to the fact that the screen is on the outside, so there's no need to worry about creasing. But that also means your phone will likely get the crap scratched out of it should you have the audacity to, put it in a pocket, or in a bag, or on a table, or anywhere outside of its box. At the same time, TCL also unveiled its folding phone designs, and there are two things that all of these devices have in common: innovative hinge design, and you're not allowed to touch any of them. Seriously, Galaxy Fold? No touchies. Huawei Mate X? Hands off, pal. TCL, whatever they're called? Slowly back away. Just what are these companies afraid of anyway? Someone actually using their phones? But if you thought MWC was all about the Fold, you would be mistaken. Let's talk about the phones that are there, kind of sort of mini rundown style, but, without the music. First, we have the LG G8, which allows you to grab imaginary things in the air to turn up the Dude Perfect video. I love those guys. The LG V50 has all the 5Gs and a second screen accessory that you can add because folding screens are hard. The Nokia 9 Pureview has 5 cameras on the back and is a tryptophobiac's nightmare. Sony introduced the Xperia 1 with a 21:9 aspect ratio, which means you'll have to be a basketball player to reach the top of the phone. Blackberry showed off its Key 2 phone, now in red, which costs $100 more because reasons. Oppo's new flagship has 10x optical zoom for those extreme close-ups, and ZTE released an Axon 10 Pro 5G, which has way too many numbers in one name. But if you want to know what MWC really means, listen to Bogdan Petrovin of Android Authority, who is now my new personal hero. He says, "This year, MWC stands for Marketing World Congress. Don't get me wrong, the stuff that was launched/promised is important, or at least it will be eventually, but it's just that all the hoopla will have very little impact on users for months or even years. Samsung and Huawei have dueling foldables that you won't be able to buy until summer if you can afford them at all, and HMD Nokia has a phone with 5 cameras that's roughly on par with a single camera Pixel 3. I don't blame attention-starved companies for jumping on every promising buzzword, but innovation for the sake of marketing isn't going to help with a sales turnaround. And if you thought I could cut through the crap and get down to business, you should meet our buddy Boggs. But there's more to life than MWC, so let's get to our roundup! Samsung showed off a 4-minute and 12-second video featuring glamour shots, close-ups, and usability of its new Galaxy Fold. And of all those glamour shots and close-ups, how many close-ups did we get of the Fold gap? Not one. Even Samsung knows it's ugly, and you can go ahead and score one for Team Adam. If you are worried about having adequate storage on your phone for games, worry no more, because as The Verge points out, 1 terabyte memory cards are now a thing. 2 different cards have been announced from SanDisk and Micron. The SanDisk is priced at $449.99, which is pretty steep, but this is memory, so it'll probably be $125 in a year or so. The Microsoft HoloLens is still one of the coolest AR/VR/MR headsets I have ever tried personally. It gets the right mix of augmented reality with a dose of virtual reality, and it's a self-contained unit, so there's no cords to trip on, etc. The HoloLens 2 is out now, and it's still priced outside a normal consumer's range, but the price did come down, so there's that. Microsoft is focusing on commercial and medical applications for now. It's still a bit too rich for the casual Minecraft players of the world. Google is bringing Google Assistant to the Messages app, which, unless I'm mistaken, has been something promised for at least a year at this point. The Assistant can do things like look up movie times if you and a friend are chatting about going to see one, which is nice, but like a lot of Assistant features, I find it to be a bit gimmicky and buggy. Don't get me wrong, what I do use Assistant for, I love it, but for all the other, oh hey, let me help you with this stuff, I either just don't run into it all that much, or when I do, I kinda hate it. Apple's COO Jeff Williams hosted a talk over the weekend during which someone asked him about Apple's prices. He said that those complaints have been, quote, the bane of my existence from the beginning of time because analysts don't really understand the costs of what we do and how much care we put into making our products. He also went on to state that Apple does not want to be an elitist company and here, buy this new iPhone for $1,100. Right. Thanks. Good talk. Kevin Roose at the New York Times decided that he needed a bit of smartphone detox since he spent roughly 5.5 hours on his phone every day, which is a lot, and sadly probably not as much as me. But anyway, he decided to go through a 30-day program to help him relieve him of his burden. Some simple tricks he did included putting a rubber band around his phone, which, now that I think about it, would be annoying as hell, and no longer charging his phone in the bedroom, which I really need to stop doing. Overall, it's a good read, especially if you feel you're spending too much time a slave to the old digital master. And finally, CNET has a breakdown of all the Oscar winners, if you give a crap. So that is going to do it for today's Digit Daily. If you'd like to learn more about any of these stories, check out the links in the show notes and subscribe to our daily newsletter on Digit.com. And if you like what you heard, subscribe and leave a review on your favorite podcast player. Once again, I'm Adam Dowd, Dead Technology on Twitter, and we'll talk again tomorrow.